This video follows the story of a TikToker who stepped onto the train tracks at a train station, leading to a not so fortunate outcome. After surgery, she must now live with life-changing injuries from this incident. Kira's first mistake was stepping onto the train tracks themselves, likely for the thrill of doing so or for wanting to film a TikTok video. Kira recounts being with her boyfriend and other mates and stupidly making a decision to go onto the tracks. After doing this, she tripped whilst trying to step over one of the tracks and ended up falling. Her boyfriend got onto the tracks and made a smart decision to wrap her puffer coat around her arm before pulling her off the third rail, meaning her life was saved. As you can imagine, it's difficult for an individual to come out of a situation like this unscathed. In fact, Kira details the injuries that she faced as a consequence of this mistake. The incident caused her to have third-degree burns on the outside of both of her thighs, one on the outside of her calf, a small one on her arm which she shows in the TikTok video, and the incident also caused her to lose her ear.
My head basically fell back and my boyfriend had to get down on the tracks, wrap my puffer coat around my arm and pull me off, so props to him because I wouldn't be here without him. Yeah, after that they called an ambulance. There was British Transport Police, ambulance, police, literally everyone there.
This was a shocking amount of carnage from being on the train tracks, which nobody should have to experience, so please educate your loved ones on this. In her video, she says that she was never taught that these rails could pose a danger to her life, so she decided to go down there after being made aware that no trains would be passing by. It seems like common sense to most people, but there's a very small number of people, and especially younger people, that don't know the danger that being on the rails poses. Many people don't have the knowledge that the third rail could potentially end your life. We often see people hanging around train tracks in the media, which can make people believe that they don't pose as much of a risk to life as they actually do. In America, it's uncommon for train lines to be electrified, and we often see this depicted in media with protagonists spending time around train tracks where the only danger ever shown is that they could potentially be hit by a train. However, in cities in the US and in other countries, train lines are much more likely to have the third rail or be electrified. When people think of electrified trains, they usually think of this, which is the overhead line equipment, or OLE for short. It has the sole purpose of supplying power to make electric trains move. But what many people don't know is that there's also this cheeky little contraption on the train tracks called the third rail. It's quite easy to recognize the third rail when you know what you're looking for. So here are some examples of what would be considered the third rail, so you can distinguish it from the two running rails and know what to avoid if you do ever find yourself on the tracks. As you can see, it's clear that the third rail is most commonly on the outside of the two running rails, or the furthest rail from the platform. Some third rails can also run discontinuously, like in this image. Trains rely on two main methods to be powered by electricity: the overhead line equipment powered by AC and the electrified third rail powered by DC. The third rail carries a very high voltage, meaning Kira was electrocuted by between 600 and 750 volts, which is 3 times as powerful as your home electricity. A few TikTok users pointed out that at train stations there's usually signs indicating that there is a risk of electric shock from being on the train track. However, not all stations have signs like this. To me and many others that I know, it's common sense to not step on the train tracks. One of the reasons is you obviously could be hit by a train, and secondly, being on the tracks increases your likelihood of being electrocuted, especially if you come in contact with the third rail. Many people point out in the comment section that it's common sense to not go on the train tracks because the third rail is electrified. However, Kira says that she didn't know this information because it wasn't taught to her in school. But now we know she's definitely learned from this experience, and I'm glad she made it through alive.
I'm 3 months down the line. I can humour it now because that's my way of coping, but it is kind of a warning to people that really don't go on tracks. I made a mistake, I was stupid, and I can think about that now and I've learnt my lesson, obviously. But yeah, don't go on tracks. They are actually electrified. Coming from someone who got electrocuted.
A few other TikTok content creators made videos reacting to this situation, and they warned others to not try and do something like what Kira did, as well as telling people exactly why being on the tracks poses a danger to their life. So I'm glad there were people on the TikTok platform that used this as a means to potentially save another person's life.
I thought cats always landed on their feet.
You think you're so funny, you stupid.
Hi, as you know, I am a train conductor, and I've just come across this young girl's video.
Apart from the obvious, potentially injuring yourself, getting down there or back up, it's the selfish attitude of the youth or some of the youth of today.
Do not do this. Train tracks are extremely dangerous. Trains are running up to 2 miles per minute and you cannot always hear them coming. Other reasons to not play on the track include live electricity.
Teenagers are impressionable, and it was responsible of other TikTok creators for not somehow making a trend out of this. It seems that many people, especially in rural areas, aren't being taught that train lines are electrified, and that touching them could end your life. Kira suggested that the reason she didn't know about this is because she was never taught that one of the train lines on the track was electrified.
A lot of schools in like the UK aren't actually told that trains are electrified, and we're in train tracks are electrified, and we're in such a rural area that it wasn't really necessary.
Hi, I'm Inspector Becky Warren from the British Transport Police and the Central Disruption Team. I just wanted to let you know, Kira, how brave you are to share your story and the injuries that you suffered when you went trackside, and really to let everyone else know how dangerous it is and how grateful we are that you have shared your story so others can learn and stay safe. So please, everyone, stay off the tracks and keep sharing this story so that we can all learn from it.
On a more positive note to end this video, it's good that Kira will now be working with the British Transport Police, meaning Kira could tell her story to a wider audience and get knowledge of this out there to prevent other people from making this mistake and not having as lucky an outcome as Kira. That's the end of this video here. I hope you did enjoy. See you next time.
Stand on the edge of the train station platform, run across the tracks between the platforms. So many dumb ways to die.
Be safe around trains. A message from Metro.